it. And if you decide you want to be in it, we could talk about making up a contract.
Hay unos que decían que eso película, ¿cómo es eso? Eso será trabajo, o que nadie ha visto eso, eso cómo será, que la gente se irá, pues, alguno irá a fallar, que la electricidad será muy fuerte, o será tiro, va a morir uno avaliado, o es con flecha. No se sabían la gente.
Our first approach was taking 10 of the most important people of the village to Cartagena. So, in order for them to see that it was really a company, that we were not going to take them out of the river and kill them, as it was one of the voices on the river, was that we're going to fetch them to Cartagena and kill them and eat them. Yes, eat, mangiare. So when we took these 10 people in Cartagena, they trust us. First time they went out of the Chocó area. And it was worth, because when they came back, they could explain to their people that everything was all right.
The real dangers for me were social ones. You know, what were we doing to them? You know, was this a good thing to do? Was it good to take a community like this and change it, which we obviously would. And I thought about that. I don't think I could come up with any solution that I would say this was absolutely right. I think what I would say is that putting everything in the balance in the end, I wondered what it was that was making me nervous about that, and felt that maybe my nervousness was a sort of disguised paternalism. I mean, after all, why shouldn't they join in this enterprise if that's what they wanted to do? Why shouldn't they decide? After all, I'd laid the thing out for them fairly clearly, and why couldn't they decide that they wanted to be in it? And if they did decide, why shouldn't that be enough for me? And once I'd realised that, I felt, well, you should go ahead with it.
It's good money for them. The idea of the film comes second, which it has to do, since they are so poor. It's the kind of poverty that we really forget exists. They're getting paid not very much, frankly, but it's more money than they would ever earn in this period of time. And people in the Chocó would come to me crying, saying, "You've got to take me, because I've got to buy this, or I've got to get my son into school, or I need the money for such and such." No one came to me saying, "I really want to be in this film," because the idea of what a film was hadn't really registered quite yet.
And then the big exodus, 287 souls, boat 6 hours, then with 8 buses 3 hours, then with an airplane 1 hour and a half, then with the other 8 buses, hour and a half to the village we built for them in Don Diego River. It was quite a journey.
Es un paseo, ¿no? Es un poco más lenta, es un poco más lenta, ¿no? Tú lo estás haciendo a ritmo de puya.
Y que está lleno, puedes decir que está
¿Sí?
lleno. Sí. Puedes soplar yo.
Otro.
Four entire villages were removed to be transplanted over 1,000 miles away at the film's location on the edge of the Sierra Nevada mountains.
I didn't know how successful it would be. Obviously, it was a calculated risk, but I felt that if we approached them as openly as we could, you know, and shared what we were going to do together, they're so naturally hospitable and warm that they would understand absolutely, and that seemed to me to be a good enterprise. And we had to use people like that because the Indians are the heart of the film, and the film is about a community that's been destroyed. And here was a community that's in danger of being destroyed as well. It was very, very close in feeling to the kind of community that the film was about. And I thought that would give a heart to the film that I could never create.
On the night of their arrival, the Waunana held a party in the unfamiliar surroundings of their new village. It was as much out of a sense of relief as of celebration. Traditionally, the Indians have always fought hard to retain their own cultural rights and independence, and traditionally, those rights have been ignored. Just as the music and dancing of the Colombian casts and extras soon overwhelmed their own celebrations, so had the Spanish and Portuguese conquerors imposed their own language and values on the Indian communities throughout South America since the early 16th century.